The Resident Evil 4 Remake has now launched today, and wow, does it play better on Steam Deck than the demo. So I previously did a video looking at the demo, and well, even with some tweaks and stuff on a base level Steam Deck, well, it wasn't overly good, you know, it was around 28 FPS, something like that, a little bit more. Now, I do want to state my Steam Deck is completely stock. I don't have cryoutilities or anything like that. This is literally just a stock Steam Deck with a 1TB Sabrent Rocket SSD. But the actual game is out now and it is so much better. And Valve has actually released a load of updates and fixes. So you want to make sure you're running SteamOS 3.4.6 and also be using Proton Experimental. However, this is set by default. Now, before I show you my settings, I am a heathen that can happily play locked in 30 frames per second. 30 FPS on a handheld to me is great. And the reason why I choose 30 is actually for better battery life, because obviously the Steam Deck's battery is just going to get rinsed if you're running above that. Now, of course, you could set this to 40 FPS, you know, lock on the Steam Deck itself, and that would also be great, but I'm happy to lock it at 30. But for this video, I haven't locked it just so you can see the frame rate I'm getting. So outside, it's mainly around the 40 FPS mark, and inside it can go up to the high 50s. Now, the worst FPS I got was actually when I got to the village where there is a lot of enemies, and there I see dips to around the sort of low 30s. But again, if you set a cap in the game to 30 FPS, you're going to run this beautifully. And again, it looks amazing because I have focused on image quality here, not just performance. But of course, you could make some tweaks, which I'll talk about in a second, which could then boost your frame rate. So let's take a look at the settings. Okay, so heading over to the settings and the graphics screen, I've got 720p enabled, 60 FPS, variable frame rate. I've got VSync off, and I am using FSR 2. Now, FSR 2 focuses on quality rather than speed. So FSR 1 will give you more frame rate and it runs beautifully on that too. So if you want better FPS, then try FSR 1 instead. Now, I am actually using high quality textures here, 2GB, and medium texture as well underneath. The mesh quality is also high. Then I've got low shadows, and well, you can really see what I've got here, but it's a mixture. And I've also obviously got some other settings left on, like motion blur and lens flare. I've gone through and basically tailored this just for what I would want the image quality to look like. And honestly, I think it looks really good. Now, you can get this game running at a really high frame rate if you don't care about image quality. But for me, like I said previously, I'm happy to run at 30 FPS or 40 as long as I've got better image quality. And personally, I think this looks really nice. I mean, you don't actually have to use FSR and you can still get, you know, above 30 FPS easily. And that's going to give you some crisp image quality. However, using FSR 2 with quality mode, I think I can get almost as good with that high 2GB texture setting. And it just looks brilliant. I'd be more than happy to play this game like this. And it is miles better than when the demo released, because the demo, if we don't look at those sort of artifact issues that it had, it just looked a little bit mushy because it wasn't running properly. But obviously Valve's fixed that with these updates, and this is day one, remember. There might still be some Proton updates or anything like that that are on their way, so we might see within the week or whatever that it runs even better, because we all know that the Resi engine runs really well. But honestly, this is more than playable right now, and played a good 20 minutes or so with these settings enabled, and I think it's brilliant. But again, of course, I will be capping this at 30 frames per second. If you wanted even more frames per second, so if you wanted to lock it in at 40 or lock it in at 60 even, bump those high textures down to medium, put it on FSR 1, and maybe turn off some of the other settings that I've got enabled for image quality boosts, and you're going to see some really good frame rate here. But I'm super excited to jump into this game because I love Resident Evil 4. It's one of my all-time favorite games, so this is just amazing that it's running so well on the Steam Deck, because I was a little bit concerned after playing that demo, but now I am just pure hyped. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you have, make sure to hit that subscribe button and go down below. Let me know your thoughts too. And check out our podcast, because AJ from our PlayStation channel and me do a weekly podcast where we talk about Steam Deck stuff and just everything gaming, really. So head over and check out the podcast channel and watch another video from me here too. See you in the next one.